Hey guys, DibtheAwesome here to give you yet another Monster Legends guide where we talk about monsters' moves, rune sets, partners, all that jazz. Today we are talking about Faraday, the Discharger. This is the Earth-based version of the newest upcoming Nemesis monster. The other, alternate version is Faraday the Obscure, which we'll be talking about in another video, which I really don't normally do. I said when the Nemesis, started out in the beginning, I'd only talk about the most relevant ones, or the ones that, not most relevant, the one I think was the one worth purchasing. No, I do recommend only buying like one Nemesis monster per kind. You only need one, so choose the weapon you want pretty much, and be happy with that. If I've ever said that before, I'm saying it now because the alternate versions cost $30 a crack, and if you were to buy the whole set of any given Nemesis monster, it's $80. I don't know if plus tax is in there, but if there's no tax involved, it's just straight up $80. It's gonna put quite a hole in your wallet. That's a lot of the monies. But yeah, that's what you use your Elementium to rank it up. By the way, so do save your Elementium. To increase the levels of these monsters because the Nemesis monsters are the most powerful. And today we're talking about one of the two alternate versions. Again, it's Faraday. This is the Earth form, or the Earth weapon. In all honesty, Hydrotilla is the only one that got the stick out of everyone else because he had different typings with his weapons. If you got like the Earth weapon, he would be an Earth Hydrotilla. They pretty much gunked it up the first time. But every Nemesis after was fixed, or is actually done right. So this is a Thunder monster throughout its alternate forms, and again, his weapon is Earth based, so it's effective against Thunder monsters, which this thing was designed to counter. I will say this is one of the better Nemesis monsters, and it is worth ranking up. Do rank up this monster. It is worth your time, it is worth your Elementium, and it is worth your effort. So power, 3,652. This is a phenomenal power, one of the higher powers in the game, but not the highest power. The highest power is still Rador at a blazing 3,800 plus. Really, really high base power, and it's a monster you can get naturally, just straight up in the shop for gems. It's not the fastest attacker, but it is the hardest hitting in terms of base stats. In terms of the raw base stats, it has the best base base power at 100, or the most natural power. So if you were to rank it up, you would do lots and lots of scaling. I mean, the scaling would go higher and higher, and all that jazz. But you didn't come here to learn about Rador, you came to learn about this guy. So this power is really, really good. Obviously this guy is a attack damage dealer based on this stat alone. Really good stat. In all honesty, you could run the extra guy build and you wouldn't really be missing out on too much damage, just because his power is really high, and the base stats of his moves, like the base power of his moves, are phenomenally high too. So if you do run the extra guy on this build, that means he'll have increased sustainability, moderate speed, and really good power to go with that, sustained damage. He's kind of like Uria, but like on steroids. So that gets a plus on me already. We'll talk about the hugest plus later. The real reason why I really like this Nemesis and why I think you should invest your time in it, because it's really good. Its life is 35,588. You would think between the three of these, this is actually, this is, in all honesty, this is the highest life between the three of these. This is, theoretically the tank because it has the highest base life. It actually doesn't sponge up the most damage. The one that sponges up the most damage is actually the Obscure. We'll get to him another day, but the main feel is he's actually able to apply a bunch of DOTs that kind of reduce the damage that he actually takes. So this is actually the tankier version, though his base life isn't the highest one. I would say it's like second to, this one's obviously has the lowest base stats. In fact, the normal one, this one, the Electrolyzer, is actually really bad in terms of base stats. So just get just one of these two. I highly recommend. But yeah, this is still a really good life. This life right here is really good. He's not able to sponge as much damage as the Dark type, because the Dark type is able to damage reduction, aka power reduction. Poison through DOTs like poison and bleeding, all in one move too, by the way. Its speed is 3,432. pretty good speed. It's an attacker. It works. It will not go first before the Voltic, and in all honesty, that really doesn't matter. That extremely doesn't matter if Voltic gets the first punch in, because of the next trait. The reason why you get Faraday to begin with, the very main motivator is Nemesis, Faraday, anticipation. When an enemy performs a skill with an extra turn, Faraday performs an extra turn just before. Status effects have a 35 less accuracy against them. So not only does this man get the advanced, hardened trait and, the general trait, tough trait, he gets a really special trait that lets him go before anything that has an extra turn scale. Basically, if Voltic uses an extra turn scale, he gets a move before that Voltic's extra turn starts. So he basically gets as many turns as Voltic does, or as many turns as Zyla does. This is a huge, huge counter to all those problem monsters, and I really don't like. That's the main thing I don't like about Voltic or Zyla. They're the play of the box monsters. Basically, when they get their turns in, there's no stopping them. For the most part, there are some occasions, like if they're not ranked up, or they're dealing with too much tankage, they're dealing with way too much they can chew, or just some random occurrences. But for the most part, if they get their turns in, it's not looking pretty for the other team. The other team is usually dead. It's really cheap. It's really stupid. I've always hated the game style. I've never hated the design of the monsters are fantastic, but the game plan, just whoever designed the moveset didn't think about the game, or just how a turn-based game functioned. Having one or two extra turn, okay, that's alright. But to have a full, skill set, or 3 out of 4 extra turn skills, and they can just keep doing what they want. They have as much turns to kill you. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. But this guy counters that stupidity, which again, I approve of this monster. Get this monster. This guy, even though his trait is like, oh man, this is bullshit though, he gets the move before my extra turn. Well, guess what? Now you know how the AI feels. For every Voltic victim out there, rejoice, my fellow brothers and sisters. This man has come. This is the Messiah. This is the Savior. And Tessaday and Uria form. This is like the fusion between the two. It's like, oh wow, that's really cool. That's really cool. Yep, the Messiah. Yep. That's really cool. That was my pop. No, wait, nothing really spilled. So his ultimate is Faraday Earth Whip. This deals 100 damage to a single person, insane earth damage to one enemy again, and applies a stun and quicksand to that one enemy. With the most part with the ultimates, I think the status should, 100%, just land guaranteed if it's 120 accuracy. So I think this is kind of like, as long as you're not blind or anything, the stun and the quicksand should land, to my understanding. Unless they had some accuracy reduction, like tough or hardened or bulwark, that kind of spiel. But for the most part, they should be dead anyway, because it does the base damage is 100. If you put a really good strength rune on it, odds are you will kill someone. Which is good for you. So it's very good at securing single target kills. It's not very good in terms of the sense of clearing out everybody though, but it has strong single target damage, which is nice. And if you have something like trait disabled, you can use this against earth monsters that are immune to stun. So if you have the new monster Baron Trader, or the mechanical lady, the mechanical lady, you can use this to your advantage. But a really good skill in taking out the Voltic or the Zyla. But yeah, this is just really good. It's a nice priority ultimate, and you could possibly get this during one of your trait procs. So that's really nice. It is really good. Here's one skill in skill groups 1 that is earth based. It is only spammable earth based skill. It's 45 damage, 25 stamina, 0 turn cooldown. It's quicksand. It applies quicksand too while it hits somebody. Only run this if you're just kind of like that guy that just loves to run a spammable move if they get Timir, so he has something to do. Here's another skill that he has that is spammable. This is skill groups 2. Stamina Exfil deals heavy special damage to one enemy, removes 35 stamina from one enemy. So this is spammable, and it doesn't remove half. Note that it doesn't remove half of the stamina. It removes 35% of it, and I don't really know why they did that. I have no idea why not just make it 50. People have like there's a monster with a spammable 50% stamina removal. I don't know why they need to make it 35. That's ridiculous. They should make it, honestly, they should just make it 50%. Because they've done it in the past. They have done it. There's like several monsters that have, spammable 50% stamina removal. Such as the lovely jellyfish monster, Nidaria. Nidaria has a spammable one. H2O has one like on a 1-turn cooldown. Like, so every other turn. There are a few. There are quite a few. It's ridiculous that he has a 35 one, but okay. All right, that's just his feel. So in all honesty, between this and this, I would run this simply because it's special based, so you can hit thunder monsters with this, so it's reasonable damage. 25 stamina, this is just, again, this is your main spammable skill. You don't have to run it if you don't want, but this is the option for you if you do. Just between these two, in all honesty. Shining Agony deals heavy thunder damage to one enemy, applies sunburn to one enemy. There is no point to run this skill. Just straight up the bat, there is no point. Don't run it. There's just an upgraded version in the future. There's just no point in running it. Gravel Strap deals moderate earth damage to all enemies, applies quicksand to all enemies. Now, no one's immune to quicksand, so this is a 15% DOT. It's 40 damage base. It's an AoE scaling on a 3-turn cooldown. This is an alright move. If you so wish to run it, you may run it. I do believe this is his only special element AoE for this one. So use it as your leisure. Use it in your leisure, This isn't a bad AoE. In all honesty, this isn't a bad AoE because it applies quicksand. Quicksand's really good because no one's immune to it except artifacts and spirits. Those gimmicky ones. Those monsters with that all immunity to all status effects. That good stuff. Faraday Cage applies sunburn and stamina leak to one enemy. Requires a cooldown of 4 turns. It's a 0 stamina cost and 0 damage skill. I'm not 100% sure you should run this. This is clearly for things like Thedes. It's clearly things for Voltic. I wouldn't run it. That's because this thing is designed to kill those monsters. This thing is designed to, deal with the extra turn monsters. This thing is just designed to do that. There's no point to run the skill. Unless you just want something to do in the meantime. In case you get like Thedes upon, that's the only reason you'd run this skill. I don't think it's a skill worth running because it's not on an AoE scaling. If this was an AoE skill, if this ever changes to an AoE premise, it might be worth running. It might. Just because of that support offering. Discomforting Basque. Clearly this guy has praised the sun at some point and has somehow done it wrong because now it discomforts people. Deals moderate thunder damage to all enemies, applies sunburn to all enemies. This is his this actually doesn't do 15%. This is 10%. I always thought this was like a 15% AoE. It's actually not. It's actually 10%. Sunburn. It's actually the 15% is actually the blind. So they have a 15% less chance to hit you. This goes well with burning, blinding, and daze, which combos well with those kind of things. You have the choice to run it. You don't have to run it. Personally, if I was running the special one, I'd just run Gravel Strap. If I'm running, I'm sure like the plain one can do a sunburn. So in terms of just getting one of the new ones, I would just run the special one. With this one, if you're running the dark one, I highly recommend running this move. It just goes well with his other DOTs. But since you're not running, we're not talking about the obscure. We're talking about the discharger. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. It's also on a 3-turn cooldown. Unless you want to combo it with other stuff. Again, just don't use it. Clay Belt deals massive earth damage to one enemy, applies stun to one enemy. This requires a cooldown of 2 turns, 65 damage, 29 stamina. You use this to take out the enemy Voltic. And or any other thunder monster, but mainly those, those pesky extra turn thunder monsters. That is what this move was designed for. Mercurius is unaffected by the stun effect because he himself is immune to stun. In fact, I think in terms of people that can weasel his way out of getting denied by this type of, Faraday, I think Mercurius, out of the 3 mainstream extra turn monsters in terms of the thunder category, Mercurius is the only one that can weasel his way out of it because he is not stunnable. He will take a lot of damage though. So he'll be we call that in the special, special stats category, we call that being dead. This will probably kill him if he's not running a life rune, more than likely. Very, very, very highly likely, because it's a base of 65 damage. I'd say run it if you want that extra insurity. If you're going to put this on defense, which I recommend, this is a really good defense monster. I'd probably recommend, if you're going to run this, this set, or, run this type of monster, I'd recommend it just for that extra security. You're going to take out that Voltic. Voltic's able to clean out teams really fast, and or Xyla, mainly Xyla. People like to say Xyla's the upgraded version, which she does do a lot more damage faster. But I don't know in terms of total damage, but because Voltic has years, you can do whatever it wants for days. But yeah, this is just for insurance, you could say. So I'd say run it. It's 65 damage, 2 turn cooldown, really nice cooldown, and it's 29 stamina. Now we're gonna get to the fun stuff. The next 3 moves here are the rank up skills. You save your Elementium for these skills, and it's very important that you use all of them because all of them are really good. In fact, everyone just kind of uses everything in skill groups 3, and that's fine. For most Nemesis monsters, that is what you do. It just is, or just for every single one, because they're advanced skills, they're really strong skills, and you only get them for ranking up. Stamina Void. This is a 65 damage skill, 1 turn cooldown, 25 stamina. It deals massive special damage to one enemy, removes 30% of stamina, and applies stamina leak to one enemy. This is a single target skill, so basically they lose 45% stamina. If they get applied by the stamina leak, they'll lose 15. Their first turn, on 3 turn, the 2 turns after that turn. This is basically, in total, this would be a 75 stamina drain in time. It does 30 right away, and then they lose 45% at some point. So it's about a 75 stamina drain, and only on a 1 turn cooldown. But again, on the instant, it is only 30%. So that means if you use it on anything, it should roughly have 70% left, assuming that they have full stamina. So this is a really good skill. I highly recommend running it. In fact, again, I recommend usually, for the most part, you do usually run everything in skill groups 4. Shining Fever deals very heavy thunder damage to one enemy, applies sunburn and burn to one enemy. I do believe all 3 of these have access to this move, and you should run it for the DOT1, the dark version, the dark weapon version. Basically counters earth monsters, and it's, again, the universal better one. It's better at handling everyone else. This one's better at handling the single target annoying insta-killer bullshit, play the box monsters. It was hydrodynamically designed to kill them. That's what this version does. This is a good one, and the other one is too. Both of them are really good, and I'm still trying to have trouble. I'm still kind of troubling on which one I want, because both of them are really good. Shining Fever, really good DOT move. Only on a 1 turn. Realize this: 1 turn cooldown. 1 turn. So if the enemy Voltic is spread in extra turns, so is the enemy Xyla, you can take advantage of that. You can straight up take advantage of their extra turns, because you get extra turns when they ever use an extra turn, and you get to use your turn before they use their extra turn. So that's marvelous. This is a good skill. Run it. It's only 22 stamina, and you can put relics on it. Hopefully they make a relic for the trap that gives stamina back for your monster. I would like that. I don't think they have yet, and in all honesty, I don't think any of these type of relics are. I don't think I got relics, and they're not very good. in terms of these two trap types, like trap and sword. Swords just do like chip damage. I don't like them all that much. I have yet to see a sword that does stamina return. I want to see relics that give stamina back, because that would be really good for this monster, and it just doesn't seem the case yet. I have yet to see them in terms of my selection that I have at the moment. But this skill right here, really good. I'll run it just straight up. Mud Whip deals deals massive earth damage to one enemy, applies stun and quicksand to one enemy. It is, stuns them and applies quicksand. So basically an advanced version of this. This is only 5 more damage. Same cooldowns, same stamina cost, but it's the bonus of just applying quicksand too. So yeah, I'd highly recommend running this skill. If you don't really want to run Clay Belt, then you just run, in all honesty, you could just replace Clay Belt with Mud Whip if you wind up getting it. It's basically just the upgraded version, and it could save you a slot so you can put something else on there if you so wished. So basically, my recommended moveset would totally be Stamina Void. Run this, run Mud Whip, run Shining Fever. So basically get this thing to rank 3 and equip all of these moves. So basically you can get all 3 skill groups moves, all 3 of these moves when you have them at rank 3. Which is, again, good for you. You would run... so yeah, if you run everything skill groups 4, and it's pretty much your choice from there. Personally, looking at all this, realistically, I think you have like 2 options, alright? So you have, or 3 options, I take that back. 3 options. You have Gravel Strap, you have Discomforting Bask, and you have the single target stun. So I'm going to say it's up to you guys what you really want. Since you're running, you're running 2 single target skills, and actually you're running 3. All 3 of these skills and skill groups are single target, so you might want to pick out an AoE. I'd recommend that. Pick everything in skill groups 4, and then your choice of Discomforting Bask and or Gravel Strap. It's clearly up to you. This combos with other stuff, while this does more DOT damage, and in all honesty, one of your skills do apply that, and so does both of them actually. both of the skills and skill boost for at least apply that. So it's pretty much what kind of DOT you want. This combos with blind and daze. I'd recommend this if you use monsters that blind and daze at once, like things like Invarv, General Invarv, Lao. I'm trying to think of more that do that. Blinding and daze. I mean, there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of monsters that blind and daze. Song Cookie, for example. Song Cookie does that. There's a bunch of them that carry both blinding and daze. And if you stack these together, I do believe that is 90% accuracy lost. Because if you think about 15 plus a 25, that's 40%. With that 50, yeah, that's 90. 90%. They are now officially 100% totally blind. Unless they get their ultimate, because then they have that cheesy chance to hit you. But for the most part, they're blind. Their basic attacks will miss. So that this combos, this just applies more DOT presence, 15%. This still does, this does 5% less damage. So basically, this just does Nightmare. It's additional 5%. So basically, Nightmare and Burning into 1 DOT. That's basically what you're getting with Quicksand. But if you're getting this, you're getting a mini Daze kind of effect with also damage. So I would probably say, but you also get more. You also get more counter time. This is a 4-turn duration. This is a 3-turn. So in terms of securing kills, I would say run Gravel Strap, especially if you're dealing with Voltic. I will say this is a better AoE. Actually, just put this move on. Put this one on. Because it has more DOT time. If you're making a tanky version, this will do you better. This will do you better DOTing. So I recommend that. I recommend Gravel Strap, Stamina Void, Shining Fever, and Mud Whip. Partners that would go wonderful with this monster. Anything that can give it stamina regen, anything that can give it life regen. I think, you know what, life regen's actually, I would say, would be the nicest thing you could ever give Faraday. Because while the Voltic gets to do his extra turn while the Xyla gets to do their extra turn. They might actually go for Faraday first. They might actually try to get rid of Faraday. I don't know which one would do better between the two. I'm assuming Xyla would easily do better in terms of handling Faraday than Voltic, because her damage is more bursty than Voltic. Voltic is with time, because he gets as much turns as possible. His damage is with the amount of turns he actually has. With Xyla, it is a little more burstier, or a lot more burstier, I will say. You know the difference. You will know the difference if you get hit by a Xyla and a Voltic. Just in terms of one turn, you can notice the damage difference. So things that give life regen is very, very nice for this man. Do that. So things like Invarv, things like Plymouth, even though Plymouth isn't extremely competitive, that is a option. He has AoE life regen. Anything that gives AoE life regen and or does something else, anything that just does anything else. Plymouth attacks while giving life regen, AoE life regen. I'm just trying to think of all the monsters that give life regen right now. Here, I'm just gonna pull up I'm gonna pull up a list here. Vadianoi. It might actually not be a good idea to put water partners with this man, because that means the enemy would have Voltic. Water monsters don't really stomach Voltic damage all that well. So partners that apply life regen that aren't necessarily water type. Oh, let's see here. Bashtet's also a good idea. Oh, Bastet would be amazing with this man. Double life, with the life shield, 120k shield protection from this monster. Lovely, lovely. I think I can get this to rank 2. I have enough cells to get her to rank 2. I should do that. I'm just kind of lazy about it. But wonderful partner to pair up with. I recommend Bastet. I recommend what are nature monsters here? Nature choices. Living Forest can increase sustainability, I do believe, and he has DOTs that pair up with the Earth version. I don't know if it's a necessity with the Dark version, because he applies poison already, but maybe you can stack the damage reduction. Living Forest has a pretty respectable low cooldown damage reduction AoE with Taunt and the double life steal, and he has good healing. So I do recommend. Actually, I recommend Living Forest for both versions. I think this is a really good monster. A lot of people overlook it. I think he's got good sustaining powers. Nature monsters that heal. Obviously, General Ulysses with that 100% heal though, or fully life reset heal. Bowtie with his ultimate. Bowtie can heal everybody and spontaneously if he gets his ult. I do believe the Dark Monster. Where is it? Undertaker. Undertaker's a good partner. In the case of the event he dies, you can just bring him back. The Undertaker can just, you're dead. I can bring you back. Protect us some more. And Keythor. Keythor is also a good partner. So yeah, those are a few options for you. So Undertaker, in terms of Dark Monsters, Undertaker or Keythor, and Nature Monsters, Ulysses. Plymouth, Plymouth isn't too mainstream, but I use them for competitive. I use Plymouth occasionally, for Team Wars occasionally. Yeah, I like him. I like his AoE life regen. Not mainstream, it's not hugely competitive monster, but it's alright. He has competitive stuff. It doesn't have to any monster can really be used in the competitive scene. It might not be the strongest thing, but it can be used. It has combo potential. This thing applies poison again. Living Forest, the main points for this: Living Forest, Ulysses, Cyan Nutra is also a good healer. Silotus, my boy Silotus. If you need help with stamina recovery, call your boy Silotus. Silotus has good protection value with that man, with this monster. So in terms of partners, that's it. Rune sets. Let's talk about rune sets real quick. Rune sets are kind of diversive. You can build whatever. In all honesty, you can build whatever rune set you want with this monster. This is one of the few monsters that you can build whatever you want, and you're gonna destroy something. That's just how this monster works. Ideally, you could also do okay. So here are some rune sets real quick. A strength and 2 speed. Ideally, with this build, is you can kill the extra guy monster, or you can deny the extra guy monster, the monster that's not Voltic. When Voltic does his extra turn spiel, you can then just knock out Voltic and then, or buy DOT right away. Yeah, like I said, you're not running both the single target Earth skills. You're probably gonna run one of the the AOE. So you pretty much set up your AOE, have the Voltic go. If the Voltic didn't die from the the Earth-based damage skill, you're gonna get an extra turn regardless, and then you can just deal more. You can deal with the other two monsters. You can pickpocket the other two out. Voltic is just gonna die from DOT if he gets hit by the DOT move, or if it gets applied. So that's the main feel with that build. It's also a good way. It's also a good build against the monster Cryotan. Cryotan's a huge problem at the moment. So to at least get a turn in before he turns you into a pancake or a frozen pancake is nice. It also is really nice if you do see a Cryotan and a Voltic together and you have Faraday ranked, as an equal level. It wouldn't be a bad idea to fight it. It just wouldn't, because Voltic would just get you out of your mega stun. If you get mega frozen. So that's nice. I'd say the extra guy build. Personally, I think the extra guy build is the best build. Gives him damage, gives him life sustain. Voltic and Xyla just period straight out the bat hates tanks, and this is a thunder based tank, so it's just a major botheration. And you just get that mandatory speed rune. You get an equal standing with everybody else. In terms of people earning just one speed rune. You could build them the full-on 2 damage and a speed. He will for sure kill anything not running a life rune. Any thunder monster specifically, if you choose to do so. You have really high damage killing at that point, especially if you have 2 10s. Just easily kill any thunder monster, just straight up smush it. I do believe the extra guy build is the build you should go with. It just has a lot of stuff. It gives you a lot more advantages in all scenarios. It's just an all-around good build. And I do believe this guy is a good extra guy monster. He's just really good. You can build him any way you really want. I don't think full speed is a good build choice, simply because, or maybe it could be. You could single target stun things. It's not the fastest monster though, so just keep that in mind. So yeah, I'd say extra guy build's the best build. In terms of this monster, I would run the extra guy build 100%. Just good sustainability, good damage, and good speed. I do believe that's it. Just one more quick note. If you really just want to get rid of the thunder monster, if that's your main priority for bringing Faraday, you might want to bring Clay. Well, yeah, I don't think it's necessary to bring Claybelt to replace Claybelt with that gravel strap. I think it's much more beneficial just to bring gravel strap. It's just more beneficial. It's just way more beneficial because you already have Mud Whip. If you get Mud Whip, you don't need. Remember, if you have Mud Whip, you don't need Claybelt. You don't need an extra single target skill. You just bring the gravel strap instead. If you have Mud Whip, just bring gravel strap. If you don't have Mud Whip, obviously you bring Claybelt instead because Mud Whip's not an option to you. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much everything there is to know about Faraday. Overall, really good monster. Again, with Faraday, this one prioritizes on killing the thunder monster, or the thing that's bothering you the most. Really high single target damage. That is it with this video. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. And remember, I am doing another video on the obscure one, the obscure nemesis, so just stay tight for that, and we'll be all good. And all that jazz. Yeah, I'm DibtheAwesome. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys later.